Those who have had depression and now don't, what finally worked? Counseling, lifestyle changes and accepting that depression comes and goes. Not being in destitute poverty. Well, I got older. Now I have anxiety instead. I quit my shitty job. Establishing a daily routine gave me structure and a sense of purpose. You just have to stick with it. I quit drinking and filled up my schedule. Left no time for myself, in a healthy way. I never give myself enough time to even think about how depressed I am. Might not work for everyone, but it worked for me. For me, it's not that it goes away, you just find better ways to manage it and cope with it. I have fought with it my whole life and had many low points, but as I get older I learn what works and what doesn't to keep me going. And sure, there are still bad days, days where I just don't want to exist, but I learn how to mitigate those big feelings and do my best to move forward. One thing that helped me was some visualization techniques. It sounds silly, I know, but I was told that I should see my emotions as an incoming tide or swell of water, and that I should be a rock, and instead of trying to fight the water every time it came crashing to just let it go around me, acknowledge that it is there and why it's there, but to not let it combat me, to just let it go. I really hope you are okay, my friend, and I hope maybe some of this helps. Well, Boutrin. That's it. I did lots of talk therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy on and off and gave it a good effort. I did get some relief for a time, but it never resolved it and it always came back bad. I finally sought meds, and which I had resisted out of a stubborn and irrational belief that it was cheating or giving up somehow. Brother/sister/sibling, let me fucking tell you, I should have sought meds decades ago. Fucking night and day. Best decision I ever made. Very depressed since probably I was in middle school. Being diagnosed with sleep apnea was possibly one of the greatest things that happened to me. Took me until 32 or 33, 35 now, until I realized that I'm just way more tired than everyone around me. CPAP at night completely changed me. No more SSRIs, nothing. A day of depression is so rare now that I forget what depression feels like. Realized I was autistic and did everything I could to prevent burnout. Burnout was the problem. Limit the amount of stressors. My family is countless generations of depressive alcoholics and I fit right in. When I moved to East Africa to teach in a small community off the grid, that was it, never depressed again. Like a light bulb going off or coming on or whatever they do. Honestly, for me, it wasn't therapy or meds that did the trick, it was cutting out toxic people from my life. Once I stopped letting negativity drag me down, things started looking up. I was lucky other people who wanted to help me forced their way into my life even when I rejected them. Medication, therapy, and decent friends. Plus my cat. Antidepressants. Stopped drinking and became open and honest about my alcoholism. For me it was a domino effect. Bought an e-reader, Kobo, - Started reading books - Read The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, which made me more comfortable with discomfort - Started exercising more because I was more okay with that discomfort - Felt slightly better in general - Started having the energy/motivation to go to meetups to meet new people - Met some cool people - Cool people started inviting me to things - I started exploring the world, which made me feel more confident and less anxious/depressed - etc. New career, diet, and exercise. Taking extra vitamin D significantly decreased my depressive symptoms like no other medication did. However, taking too much of it makes me very lethargic, so it's always a struggle to keep finding the right dose, especially considering I don't expose myself to same amount of sunlight every day. A small dose of magic mushrooms lifted me above it so I could finally see how underwater I was and what life was like above the surface. Until that point I couldn't picture how to get out of depression because I had forgotten what it felt like without it. That perspective shift allowed me to put it to rest over time. Lots of work on myself and lots of lifestyle changes. Meditation. Cardio. More sunlight. More grounding. Not believing all of my thoughts. Less alcohol. Less caffeine. Better sleep. More quality time with loved ones. Stopped arguing with reality. Unfollowed/deleted toxic people/pages who want to see you down. More time in nature. More gratitude. Less screen time. Kinder to myself. Psychedelics helped me immensely too. They showed me that I'm not my destructive thoughts, which created most of my depression, and they just kind of reset my brain. No more brain fog. I'm now the awareness of my thoughts, not my thoughts. I'm also much more mindful of who I give my attention and energy to. Letting go of dumb consumerism-based ideals and beliefs that having more material things makes you happier. Less comparing to others. Less on social media arguing with triggered damaged people. Haven't felt better in 30 years. Have processed so many unhealed past traumas and worked on my triggers. Behind your triggers is where a lot of your suffering comes from. More time doing simple things that bring me joy like patting my dog, watching the birds, playing games with my family, watching or listening to things that are intriguing and interesting. Overall just more present, call me hand, light skin tone, smiling face with smiling eyes. Hobbies from which I build friendships. Years of therapy and also ketamine treatments helped me have some major breakthroughs. Fucking miracle drug. It was actually ADHD. I realized I didn't have the courage or moral fortitude to kill myself, and when I realized that, all those thoughts stopped. Prozac, being single, and being able to support myself. Talking to my trusted friend about what I'm feeling. It doesn't cost anything, and sometimes just sharing what's on your mind can lighten the load. I'd been taking psilocybin mushrooms for a while. Sometimes recreationally, but mostly to sort of defrag the mind. Never excessively, and always with right set and setting. But I always had to return to them. A friend of mine suggested I try meditating during the trip. His fascination with accessing the Akashic records through psilocybin-aided meditation seemed neat. When I finally got around to it and meditated properly, in silent darkness as close to lotus as comfortably, and stayed with the anchor throughout, I managed to clear some 30 years of negativity. An incredible amount of drug abuse. Somehow it all reset my brain chemistry and I'm just very excited about life now. I wouldn't recommend my method. I still have a little, but it's reduced about 70%. Sitting and looking at my emotions is the only thing that ever worked for me. Seeing what they were, how they felt exactly, where they were, any characteristics, and just paying attention to them until, usually, something shifted. It would often feel like a thread unraveling, or like a bunch of little connected thought energy strings all having been interwoven being shaken loose. It's quite refreshing. Then go back for the next emotion or troublesome thought. And just keep doing that until you feel better. 5-HTP got me out of a depression slump and fixing my hormone levels helps me stay on my game. Exercise. The tears are overflowing for each and every one of you. I see you. Significant increase in pay. TMS, look it up. Not sure why it's not more well known. It's been an option for more than 10 years, with really positive results. Medication, building a routine, small victories. If you can at least wash the dishes, tidy a room or maybe get outside, that small victory is something to give you a bit of faith in yourself. I'm pretty much accepting that I'll always be on medication now. The few times I've been through some pretty destructive cycles, and I've been stable for a couple of years right now, with only a couple of major episodes in the last 10 years, in comparison to there being the potential to just spin out at any moment. For me it was magic mushrooms. They allowed me to own up to myself and take accountability. Once I started taking shrooms, I felt much more focused on my purpose and how to make positive changes for myself. Gym every day keeps the depression away. Edit, aside from the gym, just doing things. I'm learning to drive, learning Japanese as a second language, reading a bunch of books. I also figured out I love to cook my own food and make smoothies. It's all about staying busy and happy with something you enjoy, to prevent staying in your house or room for hours on end doom scrolling or playing games. Exercise, sunshine, and LSD woman shrugging sparkles. YMMV heart hands. Got a dog. Dog forced me to take at least twice daily walks. That and running woman running are the only things that make my brain feel good. To clarify, I do not enjoy the act of running, just the feeling after.